Hello, Merry Christmas, and welcome to another Shelly Loves to Paint. We are kicking off December 2025, going into the Christmas holiday season, and we're going to start that with a couple of fun and simple ornaments. All right, so what I have here today are a couple of 6-inch flat plastic or plexiglass um, rounds, and they have a little hanger loop at the top. These are great for lots of things. Primarily, they're made by Plaid Enterprises for their gallery glass line, but we love them for some fun and simple ornament surfaces. They're a little large, but they do stand out on the tree when you do create them. So hope you'll come along and paint with me today as we do this together. I'm going to do a couple of different designs, nothing too complicated, just something fun. I want to just tell you a little bit about these first. So they come in a plastic wrap. You want to take the wrap off first, and they come in a package of 2, I believe it is. And so you want to clean the surface with like rubbing alcohol and a dust-free cloth. And then try not to put your fingers on the surface as you're painting them. That keeps you from transferring any oils from your fingers. You can wear gloves, but it does make that a little more difficult to paint with, so I don't care to wear those. All right, so let's get started. We have our paint colors set out here. These are Plaid FolkArt multi-surface paints, and these are all acrylic paints. We have citrus green, Thicket, Wicker white, burnt umber, and apple red. So just a very simple palette for the holiday. All right, so I want to show you that it's fun to do a 2-sided ornament with something like this. It's also fun to do it with some of those pillow ornaments, which are like a circular oval shape, and they have like a they're kind of a flat round. They look like a pillow, right? They're not round like you would see a ball, but they're more like a flattened ball. Okay. All right, so first thing I want to do to get that look is I want to go ahead and create a backdrop, but I need to know where that backdrop is going to, the trees, and I need to know where that backdrop is going to sit. So in the foreground, let me get my 3/4-inch brush damp here, and then I'm going to pick up a bunch of wicker white on that brush, and I can come in the foreground on this first round and kind of create just a crisscross of hills, right, that are coming through here. And then all I'm going to do is just fill that in with this wicker white, create a little downward slope as we go. Use plenty of color here. And you want to work kind of quick because the paint does start to dry and set up on this plastic surface fairly quickly. It does stick just fine. Plaid does make a paint for plastic, and that works on stiff plastics as well, but the multi-surface works just fine. All right, so I'm going to come through here, and we're going to cut right across what we just did. There. All right, so whoops, let's get a little more. I don't want a dry edge right there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to put some pine trees on these hills. And then I'm going to have some tall, skinny, like bare leaf trees in the background. So I want that to kind of set and dry, and then I can flip it over and do those bare leaf trees. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean that brush. And while that's drying, we may need to hit it with an air dryer here in just a minute, but we'll give it a chance to just kind of set up on its own while we work on this second ornament. So I'm just going to shift this out of the way, and I want to wipe up any wet paint here so that doesn't transfer onto the back of my next ornament. I'll just lay that right there now. Okay, so this second ornament, what I'm going to do with this one is, this is a 5/8-inch rake brush or feather brush that comes in the Donna Dewberry signature series. I'm going to get that damp, laid on paper towel, and we're going to start with some burnt umber. Okay, and we're going to get, we're going to create a sun, and we're going to create a snowflake shape. Okay, so this is just going to have 6 legs to it. So we're just going to come right straight down the middle, like that. And let's come down a little closer here so you can see a little better. Okay, get a little more of that on here. And then so you got this center stem here, and so we're just going to make an X across that. So we're going to come across this way and this way. All right, so these are just the branches for our pine needles. So it's going to be a snowflake of evergreens. Okay, so we're going to wipe this off on paper towel and come pick up Thicket and grab some citrus green on the tip. Okay, so lots of Thicket and citrus green. So with this brush, what we're going to do is create a pine bough snowflake shape. And so all we're going to do is, with that loaded brush, you're going to come out and stroke little chisel strokes out to the tip on each of these stems. Okay, just like that. And once we get those all on there, I'm going to just show you the process here. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of wicker white now and I'm going to just touch and pull back on a few of these ends to make it look more like an evergreen. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe that white back off again and go back to my original load of Thicket and citrus green. And we'll go around and do all the needles first. I need more of the Thicket because that's a little light. There we go. You want the variation in color, so you want both colors coming off your brush. So if you're only seeing one, go get the other. Right, and some of that brown is showing through, and that's what I want. So we're just going to keep working through this. And when I paint ornaments for a large number of people or a large number of ornaments for sale, I will line them all up and do each step one at a time per ornament, and then go back and do the next step on each ornament. That way you're not completing one ornament at a time. You'll actually complete like 6 of them or 12 of them. A little more of that citrus on there. Light up a few of those. Just putting a little extra citrus green on that, and then we'll finish this one. Oops, I got a lot of paint that time. If you get too heavy, you can just wipe it off and come back and restroke it. There we go. All right, so now I can wipe off my brush and let's come get that white like I showed you. Just a little bit of white on the chisel edge. So this was the one we did the first time. So I can come right back through here, and you're just doing little chisel pullbacks on a few to create that little lightened tip, okay? So, and you want to do this while it's still wet so that it doesn't lift off the paint. as it's drying. So you want to be a little quick about it. And it's a fairly light touch too. But I want you to see, you can still see those stems that I put in there, okay? So the brown is showing through. There. All right, so then we are back to the top center. I'm going to clean that brush. Okay, now while this is wet, I'm going to come in with a 12 flat and dampen that. And we're going to do a bow on the top of this. And so what I want to do is just kind of come in here and get my bow shape. So I'm going to cut right through this wet paint. And I'm going to kind of wipe off those strokes that are in there, because that way I don't see texture underneath. And it's okay if it's green underneath. So I'm just kind of sketching out my bow here with the chisel edge of my brush, and then wiping out those strokes in the bow area. Okay, and then we're going to have a tail that comes down here. And that's going to come up and back over here. And then we're going to have another tail that comes through here. Right through there. So you're just wiping out those pine strokes that we put in there. And that'll make our bow look nicer and flatter. So you can just go ahead and kind of fill it in. It's green. It will be red, but at least make it all one color for now. I know this might seem a little strange, but trust me, it will work, okay? All right. So we're going to let that kind of dry and set up. And while we're doing that, we can come back to our first ornament. Okay, so this is pretty dry. It's just a little bit tacky, so I'm just going to hit it with my drying tool real quick. That's good. All right, so we can flip this over, and then you can see we've got kind of a soft looking snow design on the back. Okay, and so what we want to do now is we're going to stroke our twig trees. So I'm going to get a script liner, get that damp, and we're going to get burnt umber, load that on there, and then just streak through a little bit of white. Okay, and so what I want to do here is we're going to come up from behind these. You're not going to see that part, but you'll see these twigs from the trees, and you can flip it over and just see what it looks like. So see, it looks like a tree coming up from behind. And so you actually don't need all this right here. It just depends on if you're going to see the back of the ornament or not, but let's take this off, because I'm going to show you what you can do when it's all done. There. So as long as you come below that snow line, you'll be fine. Okay, so we'll put one there. And so it's just important, make sure your ornament is straight up and down so your trees don't look like they're leaning. Okay, and we'll do one over here. So just picking up that white and loosely adding some branches. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. All right, so now when we flip that over, you'll see we've got just a few twig trees in the background. And I thought I was being careful, but it looks like they're leaning. So we can fix that. This side looks like it's leaning. So what you can do is make this your main trunk here. So we'll just enlarge this tree. All right, so now when you flip it over, now it's straight. Okay. Now the other thing I like to do is you can come in with this apple red, and in the tree you can put a little cardinal. So you do a little head, a little point right there, a little point right there, and just a little impression of a cardinal. Right. And if you want to get real specific, you can get some licorice. I'm just going to use brown right here for his little beak and the top of his head and his tail. All right, so just a little red bird in the tree. When you turn it around, looks like he's sitting in the tree. Okay, so I'll do one more of those. So we get the red. Let's come over here. We'll put him right here. Actually, let's put him up high because I don't want my other trees that are going to be on the front to get in the way. So put his head. Get the brown. And there we go. Just a very simple look to those birds. So now flip it over. And there you go. All right, so we're going to let those set up for just a minute. And while we're doing that, we're going to come back to this one. And we can work on our bow now. So let's get, this is a 12 flat. And I'm going to load this with all apple red right now. Okay, and we're going to come right in here. And stroke that bow. Okay. And then pull the tail. Now when you're painting on a slick surface like glass or plastic, you don't want to push too hard because that just divides the paint and makes it really thin. And so if you lay the brush handle down, so you kind of lay the paint on, and loosely, lightly stroke it, you'll be happier with the results. Okay. All right, so let's turn this way. And we'll come out this way, to the point, to the point, come back in. All right, oops. Okay, so there's our bow. And we want that to kind of set up again, because then we can come back in with a second layer of color, because red is such a transparent color. You really want to do 2 layers of color, especially with red. All right, so we're going to set that aside one more time and clean that brush. And then we will come back to this one. Now I'm going to hit this with the dryer again, just so I can flip this back over. Okay, so now we can flip, and we have our tree design ready to lay out. So this next step is we're going to put some evergreens, and I'm going to use a Filbert brush for this. This is a number 8 Filbert. Get that damp. And we're going to start with Thicket. So I'm going to load the brush with all Thicket. All right, and we're just going to add some evergreen trees in here. So let's come right up here. We're going to do 3 of them. So we're going to do a center stem here, so we have the height of our tree. All right, and then we're going to touch up here, turn the brush, and just tap side to side, going down. You need a lot of paint with this. And you're just tapping on the chisel edge of the brush. So okay, so you're just getting a general shape with that. Then you can come in and start to kind of fill in a few places. All right, and I'm going to wipe that brush off and get citrus green on one side and wicker white on the other. And we're just going to add the highlights to this now. So we're going to come right up here and tap, and then we'll tap side to side, letting that dark still show through. I've got the little white edge down, the citrus green edge is up. See that? A little more of that white. There we go. All right, and we're just going to tap through. Pick up both of those colors each time. And let's get a little more citrus here. All right, so down here at the bottom, I'm going to wipe off that brush again. I'm going to get some more Thicket. And we're going to tap in some darker areas. There we go. Just to kind of finish out the shape of that tree. Isn't that cute? All right, so same process. Let's start with Thicket. And we're going to hop down here. Let's do one over here, a little bit shorter. About that size. Tap, and then side to side, going down. So you can see the shape there, right, of the taps. And it gets lighter down here in the snow, so I'm going to add a little more because I think the paint wears off my brush is the thing. So we just kind of fill that in a little more with the heavy Thicket. Then we wipe off again We get citrus green on one side, wicker white on the other. Okay, with the white edge down, do a little tap there. Get more white, more citrus. Okay, so there's our second tree. And we'll do one more. So come back to the thicket, lots of thicket. And let's put this one right here in front, right on this little cross area, okay? So tap, turn, get the shape. All right, so you just get the basic shape first, and then you can kind of fill in with some more of the thicket. There we go. Wipe off and come get our lighter colors. Okay, so the white edges down. Start with a tap at the top, and then white edges down, tapping in that lighter color on top of the dark. Oops, I lost my citrus there. There we go. Okay, now with this bigger one and it's in the foreground, I want to come back and add some more thicket. So you can kind of fill in some dark into some of these areas. And get a little bit of white. There we go. All right, now I'm going to come in with, this is a number 8 flat, and we're going to get some white, all right, wicker white, and I'm going to come right in here and just kind of slip slap a little snow up underneath those trees. So it's heavy white. There we go. Right, and you can just kind of side to side smooth it out underneath so it's not lumpy at the bottom. So aren't those fun? So I finished this. There's a couple of things you can do. You can leave it like this and it's daytime, okay? And we're just going to do a little snow spatter to finish that. Or you can come from behind again and paint like a dark blue and turn it to nighttime, and that will change the look and the effect. So that's up to you. So I'm not going to do that, but that is an option for you. All right, so I'm going to get my toothbrush with some water and some wicker white here. And I always test it on my plate so that I don't get heavy, big spots, right? And then you just go right over. Just like that, and create a little snow spatter. Fly specking is what they call it. And there you go. So that's a fun little ornament to do. Not too difficult, pretty simple with the steps. And if you prefer to do your tree with a flat brush, you can use that instead of the Filbert. I just like to try different brushes so you can see what you can do with them. All right, and then I'm going to come get my script liner again. Oh, here it is. All right, and we're going to get some, let's get some inky Thicket. Not real inky, just a little. All right, you can come. Now I like, on an ornament, I actually like to sign the back. Okay, so you can come right down here on the middle back. And need more Thicket than that. It's not showing up. There we go. Okay, so there you have that finished ornament. Isn't that fun? All right, so I'm just going to set that one aside for now. And we'll work on our evergreen snowflake. Now I want to wipe off any fly specking that might get on the back of this one. All right, so there we have that. All right, so my red is pretty dry. I am going to hit it with the dryer just to make sure. Okay, so let's come back to our 12 flat. I'm going to load this with apple red. All right, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to come in and restroke our bow with the red. So it's a brighter red now. And then I want to side stroke some burnt umber. So I got apple red, and then I'm side loading some burnt umber to get a darker red on one side. And what we're going to do that is we're going to come right underneath here and we're going to do a loop. See there? And now it turns it into a beautiful dimensional bow. We'll do the same thing on this side. So we're going to come out and back in. Isn't that pretty cool? All right. And then continuing with that, we can come, let's come from underneath here. A little more of that brown. All right, so you got that little bit of a shade going up through the middle, gives it a little dimension. I'm going to work that in just a little bit. All right, and then we'll do the other side of the tail. Okay, so let's turn it this way. I got a little overrun there. You can take a clean brush and take it off. So again, not a lot of pressure, and you want to give it more of a flat angle to the brush rather than handle straight up and down. Okay. There we go. That look pretty. Now, just to finish this off, I'm going to come right here in the middle and do a little C stroke here. See that? Lay a little extra white or red on there. And I can come out here, brighten up that edge just a little bit. Just a little more of that red. All right, now we can come back with my 8 flat, and we're going to do a few little pine cones and berries. So I'm going to load my 8 flat with burnt umber, and then I can come side stroke just a little bit of wicker white on one edge. All right, and we're just giving the impression of some pine cones here. So we're just going to do like a little point create the shape, okay? And a few little white strokes on there to give it that look of a pine cone. But they're tiny, okay? So you can do one here. So go out to that tip, make the wider bottom. Side stroke that white and do just a few little angled tips of the chisel edge of the brush. Okay, just a couple little slices. So I think I like better just to come in with all brown and get my shape first. There. Okay, and then you can side load that white and do them all at once. Little white here, little chisel. Accents, right? So you're just angling the brush and creating a few little white accents on there. It just gives the impression of a little pine cone. Okay, so just very simple. This is going on a Christmas tree, so they're not going to be looking at it close up. Anyways, right. Now I can dip my handle of my brush into apple red, and I can dot a few berries along these pine boughs. Okay. All right, and then to finish this up, I'm going to come get my script liner again, and we're going to get some white. So let's load white on there. All right, and we can come along our bow and just outline it. To that. Right. Now that's a little bold. So let's try a little something different, because I'm just kind of winging this as I go. So let's try a little something different. I'm going to take my 12 flat and I'm going to side load some apple red on that 12 flat. And we're going to go right over that white outline, and I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. It's going to tone it down just a little bit. See there? Because it's still wet, it's kind of picking it up and creating a little bit of a pinkish tone to it, but I kind of like that look. So you decide. If that's something you care for or not. There, and it's still keeping the white in some spots. But I think that toned it down and makes it look a little prettier. You could even, let's try this. Because I don't want to use floating medium, but you could. Get a little more of that white with the red, more of a pink. So red on the whole brush. You guys probably think I'm losing it, right? There, that looks better. So I got red on the whole brush and side loaded some white to get it kind of a pink look to it. That's pretty. That's better. See there? I like that. So out of an oops came something better. There. Okay, that's nice. So then we can do, nope, we're not going to do that. And then we'll go right over here. There we go. That looks better. Okay. So we're pulling back from the curve of the bow. And I'll come back in here with my red, side load my brown, and we're going to put this dark back in here. There, that's better. What do you think? All right, so there's our simple, somewhat simple evergreen snowflake ornament. Sorry for that little oops there, but hopefully you grew and learned with me along the way what looks good and what doesn't look good. I'm going to get some inky burnt umber right in here and we will sign it. And there you go, guys. So a couple of simple ornaments for the holidays, something that aren't too difficult, just to knock off and give to friends. Put in those gift bags or whatever when you're going to a holiday party. Hostess gifts or things like that would be a great idea. So let's get our other one back over here. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll share them, give it a try, and come back next time on Shelly Loves to Paint. We will have another beautiful Christmas design all ready to share with you. Okay? See you soon. God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.